Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the No Laying Up Golf Podcast. My name is Randy. I am joined right now by Cody McBride. Cody, good to have you. We're talking women's golf. It's been a minute. We got a lot of ground to cover. I'm excited for this one. How are you today?
I am doing great, Mr. Big. Thank you, of course, for having me on. We don't have to thank Mr. Jeezy, which we're used to
I
doing
know.
here. This is such an awesome week. I think we shouted it out last year while it was happening. We shouted it out at the end of the year when for some reason, they asked us to rate which golf tournaments we thought were the best on as part of the LPGA Tour. It is CPKC Women's Open Week, Canadian Women's Open Week. I love the branding about this. I love how it rotates across the country. I love everything about it. And I think, I don't know, the Montana boy and me, our sister province up there in Alberta, finally getting some love as we're in Calgary. I'm just excited, man. Again, we said this last year. This is one of those tournaments that we have to go to at some point in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I know. I'm honestly I'm bummed we're missing this year's edition because it's at a new venue, like you said, up in Calgary, Alberta. We'll get there. Let's I know we're not going to thank Mr. Jeezy, but let's thank a couple of our presenting partners. We'll start with Yeti. What can we say about Yeti, Cody?
My words don't do them justice. A big thank you to Yeti and the Yeti team. They are our title sponsor for this year's LPGA content across the board, specifically our LPGA podcast. They make it possible for us to sit down and chat, do a little travel, you name it. It doesn't matter if it's luggage, hard coolers, soft coolers, drinkware, or what else, big. You get a little care package.
I did. So if anybody listened to the trap draw a couple weeks ago, Tron and I were chopping it up. Actually, the one with our buddy THG. Couple personal announcements, but the one having to do with Yeti, my fiance and I, we got a new dog. We adopted a 1-year-old lab named Arthur, and as part of a little welcome for Arthur, we had a Yeti dog bowls waiting for him. And these things are sweet. Of course, they're well made, over manufactured, like can withstand anything. But they're just perfect. They come in lots of different colors. We chose wine red, which my fiance, that was her
Sound
pick.
that sounds right for her.
Yeah, and then I chose key lime. So I'm a big parrot head. R.I.P. Jimmy Buffett. So they just make wonderful little dog bowls, water, food. So happy to have them. They've made our new life with Arthur just that much more enjoyable.
That's amazing to hear. You're right. Definitely over engineered. It's prime time, big. I think I got 3 weeks left. Only 3 weeks of summer before these kiddos go back to school. So I'm
Wow.
hitting up that Yeti website. They have plenty of custom options that you can choose from, but we're big fans of the smaller Rambler water bottles and the
Yep.
cool matching colored top. Gonna get those a new set of them made up for the kiddos. Those are their school water bottles. If you're watching on the video feed, Randy showing his Rambler. I love it. That's one of my favorite colors that they have. A
They're the
ton of
best.
summer covers right now. It doesn't matter if it's Bigs or Arthur's dog bowls, I guess. Waters, hard coolers, soft coolers, you name it. Yeti products perform when it matters most. Please head over to yeti.com for their complete product line and more.
I'll
What
tell you
else,
how
Big?
much yeah, I'll tell you how much of a dog lover I am. So Yeti makes they make what is it? 4 cup bowl size and then 8 cup bowl size.
That's a big
Well,
bowl.
yeah, well they sent me each and we're using the 8 cups. I mean, we don't fill them all the way yet, but I was like, what should I do with these other ones? So this is how much I mean, this is how all in I am to the dog life. On my little walks with Arthur, you come up to certain houses and they'll have like a little water bowl out front. I
Yeah.
love that. And so I just put one out this morning. I put one in the extra, the wine red colored 4 cup bowl filled with water, trying to just do my part, Cody, to pay it forward.
I know it's not going to be dog owners that you might have to worry about this, but I don't know, maybe strap an air tag to that thing or something like that because I think it might get swiped, buddy. Do you
That's
want to roll
true.
Titleist now? Or you want to wait a little bit?
Let's thank them. We're in a jolly mood, and then that'll clear out this first part of the podcast. We can get down to the golf.
I love it. Every week on the PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, and around the world, Titleist Tour reps work with players to make sure that they are dialed and into their equipment. Why? Because it's the most crucial component when playing their best golf. Here's the thing. Custom fittings are not just for them. They're not just for the best players in the world. They're for anybody who wants to play better. A certified Titleist fitter can help any player at their point in their journey find the right equipment to unlock another level of play. Your fitter will start by getting to know you and your game. That's the most important thing, and that's what I love about it. You get a little anxious. It doesn't matter big. They're going to get to know you and figure out what you want to change, your specific needs to drive that fitting experience. The order of the fitting is important. Titleist fitters believe in starting with the irons, dialing in the proper model choice, shaft, and specs. The result is the right distance gaps that you can trust all the way through the right loft, bounce, and grind with your Vokey design wedges. The next step is fitting your golf ball from the green back to the tee. Scoring shots are the focus. Once your irons are dialed in, Titleist fitters can help determine which golf ball produces the right flight, spin, and feel for every shot. Finally, once your golf ball is properly fit to your scoring shots, the fitting moves to the metals, the drivers, the various models, and sure fit hosel settings. You can fine tune and maximize distance and dispersion. So if you want to play your best golf, the first step is simple. Go to Titleist.com, find the Titleist fitter or fitting event near you. Of course, thank you to Titleist. Big, what do we got going on today?
Let's just catch up, Cody. It's been a minute since we've talked LPGA Tour golf. We've had a lot going on. We've had another major, the Evian, which we of course discussed on the Sunday pod that week. But I still think there's some stuff we can dig into. We're going to look back at where the tour's been. We're going to look ahead to what's coming. And then we have a second part of this episode. Our good friend, young hitter Lauren Coughlin, who is playing the best golf of her career. She's going to join us for a chat. She finds herself in a great position to potentially make her first Solheim Cup team. Part of that was her excellent play at Evian. We'll get into all that in part two. But Cody, you mentioned the Canadian, the CPKC Canadian Women's Open. What can you tell me? I mentioned they're at a new club. Do you know anything about Earl Grey Golf Club up in Calgary?
Well, a quick research I found out, founded in 1919 as an only a 5-hole golf course, which is I think pretty unique.
That's
But
interesting.
they
Yeah.
took the amount of land that they had, they built 5 holes and kind of let it rip. And then over time, they've added on to that. 2018, they did a complete redesign, and I think it's because there's this water that is kind of adjacent to the property, and they put new walking paths in. And I'm pretty sure that the golf course, it's a private club, but they don't actually own the ground. I think they lease it from the city of Calgary.
Hmm.
So when they put this new, or when they were expanding the water reservoir situation, they put some walking paths around it. The walking paths were actually routed through part of the golf course. So they had to completely move holes around. So this is a new look, new breath of life to this club around there. But I'm pumped. You can't find, when you talk about where people should be playing golf and tying it to like where the best weather possibly is right now, the end of July, you got to think that in Alberta, Canada, this is matching up perfectly. A lot better than anywhere else that, the PGA Tour or anybody else is finding themselves at.
I think that's exactly right. The more north you can get this time of year, I think the conditions just get better and better. It's some sneaky primetime golf too, which is always fun. The TV coverage for anybody that hasn't seen Eastern times, 6:30 to 9:30 Thursday and Friday on Peacock and Golf Channel, and then Saturday 6 to 9 p.m. again on Peacock and Golf Channel. Cody, well, let me mention a couple of things. Megan Kang, defending champion.
Yep.
Brooke Henderson, she's going to be there. Only 3 of the top 10 players in the world. You have Lilia Vu, you have Hannah Green, and you have Rose Zhang from the top 10. I mentioned Brooke. Lydia Ko is going to be there. But I think it's a bit of a bummer this year specifically. The field's getting a little hit by the Olympics, so it's tough. A lot of the players, the marquee world class players, were in France a few weeks ago, and now to come all the way to Alberta, Canada, just for the ones qualified for the Paris Olympics, it's just a ton of travel. So unfortunately, I feel like this field's a bit weak this year, which is a shame because year after year, like you mentioned at the start of the show, like we thought this was the best annual tour stop of the year last year. I mean, they put on a great show. They had the little hockey rink theme on a par 3 last year. The crowd show up. I mean, Canadian golf fans, they'll be out in droves, not only supporting Brooke, but the whole field. So, bit of a bummer, but understandable. I'm just really looking forward to watching some golf this weekend. I feel like between the men's British Open last week and just the July 4th weekend, I just really haven't been able to like sit down and lock in, and I fully plan to this weekend. I think Arthur's going to join me. I think we're going to watch
Yeah.
some golf on the couch together.
I love that, man. Yeah, you mentioned Brooke. I'm surprised. I got to go back through the field, I guess, and figure out who else that's qualified for the Olympics, that's playing in the Olympics, is actually in this field because this is a pretty big shout out to Brooke Henderson. We know how much this hometown event or home country event means to her, but the Olympics only happens every 4 years, and you don't know how many teams you're going to qualify for. And even though the women are playing on during week 2 of the Olympics, so their competition is not picking up for a while now. It's everything else. It's being a member of whatever national team that you are. It's the opening ceremonies. That's what Brooks kind of sacrificing to be here for her home country event. And I think that's really cool because you talk about the rest of the top 10 in the world, they're all missing it because I'm sure they want to take part in all that stuff.
Which I get Lilia Vu wanting to play here. She missed so much time. I feel like she just wants all the reps that she can get. Good on Hannah Green. Honestly, good on Rose Zhang. Those are two women that I always double clutch around the Olympics. I'm like, wait a second, are they qualified? But I believe they're both qualified for the Olympics. Next week, if we fast forward, so from Canada, they go west even further out to the Portland Classic at Columbia Edgewater Country Club. And you'll see that field. That field's going to be missing all the top players, and obviously due to the Olympics. So
Not only the Olympics, but it's just kind of weird. It messes up the whole schedule, right? And I think every year, kind of the running joke has been when somebody does the Google Earth version of the LPGA
yeah,
calendar, and you see everything bouncing all over the place. I'm actually very proud of them during this week. So we go from Portland. You have a legitimate week off, and I think by them saying, "Hey, we're not going to schedule an LPGA event this week. We know that the Olympics are going on, and the vast majority of at least the top qualifiers that are playing in the Olympics are also like studs on the LPGA tour. There's no need to try to make something happen during that week. We can all focus on that. The people that are not playing in the Olympics can have a week off before everybody takes off for the Women's Scottish Open, and then really settles in there as we go from Dundalk Leagues for the Women's Scottish across to St. Andrews for the AIG Women's Open."
yeah, that's exactly right. And I think the only thing I would add is I think both this week and next week out in Portland, it's a great chance for somebody to break through and get a first victory. We saw that last year in Portland with Shanette Wanasan getting her first victory. We're going to
You get
talk
an
about
A
her.
plus for that one.
Thank
I
you.
was real concerned about the pronunciation, but good job.
We're going to get to her because she just won again in Northwest Ohio. So that's what's coming for the LPGA Tour. But let's take a look back, Cody, because you and we haven't chatted in a
Can I
minute.
add one more thing on here that kind of I get it, but when we're talking about total schedule wise and flow, so we go from Scottish Open, and this is the same complaints that we have on the men's side. Scottish Open into the Open Championship. All right, same thing. The ladies European Tour is doing the right thing, and they put the women's Irish Open the week following the Open Championship. So theoretically, you could play them 3 weeks in a row. The LPGA Tour has a new event, of course, TPC Boston. Everybody's very, very excited about what's going on there. That's going to be the following week's event for the LPGA Tour players. I hate the fact that there's that schedule conflict there. I think that is something that hopefully in years to come that they can figure that out, because we talk about this links golf season. I want to see them run concurrently. I
I
think
know.
it's an amazing thing, and I know it's a weird year because of the Olympic reshuffle and everything else like that. But I hope that is somewhere where both entities, both parties can sit there and compare, schedules and say, "Hey, I think this is what's best for us as a whole."
Do you have the Irish Open course in front of you? I don't
Yes.
know offhand. Is it an actual links course this year? Because that's been an issue too in the past. Is like they play the Irish Open not on a links course.
Well, I think the funny thing is about we have that rub all the time, right? And I'm pretty sure this year it is at let me pull it up. I'm pretty sure Carton House, the O'Meara course. I can almost guarantee you that it's not a links course.
Yeah,
But do you know what I also know about the country of Ireland? Is that they're most well known for their links course for sure. There's a
yeah.
lot of golf courses that are inland that the Irish Open gets to go to. And I
Mhm.
think that's pretty cool. And I know like you want that. I understand that feeling. I will meet you there and say, yes, I would like that feeling too. But I think it's cool for an event. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be the one who's always poo-pooing everything.
I know. We do a lot of that. The only reason I said that was because I would love a 3-week stretch, going back to your point of, like, let's make it the links stretch of the calendar, right? Where we could get an Irish Open on a links course, where we played the Scottish Open on a links course, and, of course, the AIG Women's Open are now on links courses. So it would create this, at least 3-week stretch of true links golf. As we saw with the men's open last week, like, links golf is just the best. So I would just say like 3 weeks would be better than two, but you're right. We don't need to like poo poo every little thing. We we do and we will do enough of that. All right, let's look back real quick. I want to go back to, I really think we got to start with the Dow Championship. We don't have to spend much time with these, but I don't think we ever really broke it down. I thought this was pretty cool. You had Ataya Titicum and Ronnie Yin, both 21-year-olds, big game, top 10 players in the world. They teamed up, they took down the Dow Championship. What do you feel about these team events? I mean, it was the third LPGA title for both. Are you a guy that likes to discount these team wins? And it kind of felt like, hey, Ronnie and Ataya, you guys are like two of the best players there, kind of teaming up to beat everybody else. A bit of a bully situation, even.
Well, I don't know. I use this as like defining fact for my for a lot of my potential Solheim Cup captains picks last year. I remember jumping
That's
up
a
and
great
down
point. Yeah,
talking about like, hey, if they performed well at this event, this is really the only thing on the women's side that we get to look at when it comes to playing any sort of alternate or different format when it comes to golf. Should Ronnie and Ataya have won this event? Hell yeah.
yeah,
Like,
I know.
good thing they did, but, like, look at the other, like I think the pairings that the women on the LPGA Tour, like, the thoughtfulness behind it makes a lot more sense than a lot of the Zurich pairings do, outside of Shane and Rory this year, but, like, Ronnie and Ataya, like, they're best friends, and they just wanna play together. Outside of that, there's never, like they're never gonna really have that opportunity to do that in, like, a team competition ever, but, like, Jennifer Kupcho and Allie Ewing, that's a Solheim Cup pairing.
Yeah, but
Like,
great point.
they ended up taking second place. Like, that makes a ton of sense. Nana Kortz Matson and Nicole Brunchestrup, like, that's another like future Solheim Cup team right there. Georgia Hall, Charlie Hall. That's a Solheim Cup pairing. You know that, like, they love that. And you can go down and you can kind of see like the thought process of what's going on there. And I thought it was awesome. Plus, a huge shout out our young hitter, Lacarbi Abbey, and her partner Georgina Obo, like having an opportunity to play together to come up to the LPGA Tour when they don't like have all the access and status in the world, end up taking they finished T8. Like, that's really cool, and that wouldn't be possible if it was just another regular LPGA Tour event.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that. One fun thing from the press conference of Ataya and Ronnie Yin, they said they were trying to figure out a way to push each other on that last day. It's best ball the last day, and they made a bet that whoever made the most birdies, instead of the other person having to buy dinner, whoever made the most birdies got to buy dinner. And I just
Right.
love that little framing. Their press conference is wonderful. You can just tell how good of friends they are, and I just, they're very impressive young women. So I thought that was a very cool moment. Great win for both of them. I think it's great for women's golf. Um, yeah. All right. Well, moving on. I'm going to go a little bit out of chronological order because I want to talk about the Dana Open, and then we'll touch on the Evian quickly after that. Shanette Wanasayan, she won her second career title. She defeated Heyron Rue by one stroke. Lynn Grant had made a bid to try to go back to back in Sylvania at the Dana Open. She came up just short, tied for third. Good showing for her. Do you have any thoughts, Cody, on Heyron Rue? Because it's a name that's just kind of starting. I feel like she's just putting herself in really good positions more weeks than not. And just curious if you have any, have you gotten to watch her play much? Do you like her game? Anything on Heyron?
It's very, very serious golf that she's playing right now. And I'll go back, like, the Dana Open, she ended up, like, I think she finished one back, correct? She finished at 19 under.
Correct.
Evian before that, she finished solo fifth. Like, she doesn't miss a ton of cuts. You want to talk about like tough golf courses on the LPGA Tour event? When you talk about like Wilshire, she had solo third at Wilshire this year. Want to talk about like hanging around KPMG this year, tough golf course, tied for ninth there. I think she's somebody who has a phenomenal short game. She hits the ball an absolute mile, and she's so young. Like, she just has to put all this together. But the finish that she had, knowing that she had to go out and like, she's truly trying to track down Jeanette. She finished birdie, birdie, bogey, birdie, birdie, shooting a final or her final nine, coming in at 32 to finish to shoot a final round 65 compared to Jeanette 67. And you mentioned Lynn Grant in there. Lynn Grant ended up doubling her final hole. She ended up
Yeah.
finishing like, I think, 5 or 6 back. But really, like, she had a double. She had two other bogeys on the day. This golf course, it's just one of those where like you have to be pedal to the metal the entire time. Very like Corn Ferry Tour ish. And if you start giving away strokes, you're really in trouble because pars are setting you behind.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so well said on Heyron Rue. I had just, because mostly out of my own curiosity, I kind of went back and was just looking at her resume here these last couple of years. For anybody that didn't realize, she actually won the Rookie of the Year award last year.
Yep.
Rose Zhang finished second to her, mainly because Heyron Rue was getting starts from the start of the year onward. But still, Rookie of the Year, take nothing away from her. She won last year in Arkansas, so she does have a tour victory. But you mentioned she doesn't miss many cuts. She's only missed 4 cuts now, and we're coming up on 2 full years on tour. Compare that, she's got 13 top 10. So I love that kind of inverse ratio of top 10s to missed cuts. And then the other thing I find very impressive, she already has top 10s in 4 of the 5 majors. The only one that she doesn't is the AIG Women's Open. So I think she's just 23 years old. I feel like she's getting more comfortable. She's got to be getting more comfortable in contention. I think she's somebody that, is going to be in the hunt in a lot of big events over the coming years. So definitely a woman to keep an eye on there. Stacey Lewis played in the Dana Open. She finished tied for 7th. She's about to get very busy here over these next couple months leading up to the Solheim Cup. And the other thing I wanted to mention, what'd you make of they had Lexi Thompson Day Friday in Northwest Ohio? I like it. I feel like that's a nice little touch for her.
Yeah, I guess I didn't do my research and find out like why then. Was there a reason why then? Why this event? Like, is there something with Toledo that is tying it to, or what am I missing? Because I'm in on it. I was in on it.
No, I just think it was the tournament almost thanking Lexi.
Okay.
She's consistently showed up. I have a quote here from the tournament director, Judd Silverman, who said, Lexi has meant so much to the LPGA Tour's success and growth over the past 14 years, and we felt this was the perfect time to honor her for everything she's done for golf. Lexi has moved women's golf forward while inspiring kids to follow their passion and dream big. I think she's signed just about every hat, glove, ball, and flag handed to her and accepted countless requests from sponsors to make appearances on their behalf. So the other cool thing, I can't remember something like this in golf, like outside of Solheim Cup. on Friday before her morning tee time, they did an F-16 flyover, which had to be pretty cool. So I know they did it Friday, probably thinking like, oh shit, if she misses the cut, we better make sure she's got a tee time. But she did not miss the cut. She finished tied for 19th. We're gonna banter a little bit about Solheim picks, but Cody, I mean, I think she's a lock to be a captain's pick at the Solheim. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she was at Solheim Cup Media Day. She's in all of the press releases and everything else like that. There's no way there's no way that Lexi Thompson is not on this team. And
Yeah,
honestly, again, based off play, she's coming into good form. So yeah, like sign me up for that. Other results to shout out here, of course, Lucy Lee. We're kind of
your
back
hitter.
doing it.
Yeah,
T13. I like that. The other one was Maya Stark, who came out like had such a good spring, put herself in contention at the Chevron, put herself in contention the following week without her full time caddy on the bag in LA, and then just kind of was searching for some stuff and went away. She back in it. Another top 20 finish, so finished T19. And then Marina Alex. We had her on the podcast, happy hour, I think,
that
or
was
maybe US Women's Open.
it was U.S. Women's Open. That's what it was because she was playing up in Seattle for the KPMG.
Yep, top 20 finish right there, tied with Maya at T19. We'd like to see that. Making birdies, she's so consistent. Doesn't hit the ball a country mile like everybody else, but she hits fairways, she hits greens, and she's trying to make some putts.
Yeah. Kari Webb teed it up in
Yeah.
Toledo. She missed the cut, but hey, anytime those the folks of Northwest Ohio got to see a Hall of Famer, that's pretty cool. Let's get to Evian. We don't have to spend too much time because, like I said, I think we talked about it. We did a live show at, excuse me, we talked about it on the Sunday pod, but I think it just bears I wanted to talk about Ayaka Foodway. And one, I want to just shout out her finish at the Evian to on Sunday with the championship up in the air for her to go birdie, 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 par, eagle over her last 5 holes to win it is just like that's big time shit right there. That I don't care what tournament, where you are, to go 5 under over your last 5 holes is incredible. So good on her. I wanted to dig in, Cody, again, just kind of see how her career is going. So, Ayaka, for those that don't know, she earned her tour card through Q School for 2022. So, 2024 this year is her third year out on tour. She had been a very successful player on the JLPGA. She had won 7 times before she came over to the States. Has actually won once subsequently to earning her LPGA tour card. But her play on the LPGA tour has just been out of control. So since the beginning of 2022, her rookie year, she's missed 6 cuts. And again, compare that to her top 10. She's got 21 top 10. So an awesome kind of inverse ratio there that we talked about with Heyron Rue. And I think more than that, like this year, for how good Nelly Korda has been and how much oxygen deservedly Nelly was getting, Ayaka Foodaway leads the tour in top 10s. She's got 9 of them, which is 2 clear of Nelly and actually 2 clear of Heyron Rue. I think Ayaka is somebody that it just, the more people you talk to, the more folks I would say, like, she's going to win a big event, sooner than later. And I thought it was really cool for, I guess, the women's game, right? Like the more of these types that can capture majors, I feel like it just helps build storylines and kind of elevate them as we go down the road to future majors. So I know we give the Evian shit. We can debate all day whether it should be a major, but as long as it goes in the history books as a major, good on Ayaka. And again, going 5 under through her last 5 holes, that was just big time, big time.
Yeah, for sure. She's a major champion. It doesn't matter what we say. That's what the record books are going to show. And this is the second time that she's actually been in contention at the Evian. She was in before she joined the LPGA Tour when she was still full-time JLPGA. She was in contention in the 2021 Evian. That same year, I don't know if you remember this or not, she actually started the final round, I think 4 shots back at the women's or at the AIG Women's Open that Anna Norquist ended up winning, but was very much in it until with 9 holes to play, and then ended up like just kind of puttering in, shooting an even par 72. But you're right. She's an app like she's a winner. She has proven that on the Japan circuit. She proved that in high school. Like very, very good amateur player. Wins in buckets, and this was awesome. And I think what's cool about this final round 65 that she shot, not like including the eagle that she had on 18, like she had a number that she knew that she had to get to. That's because Pat
Mhm.
was already in the clubhouse. And it was just so impressive watching her and Steph Kiriakou, who ended up finishing solo second there. Like they knew what number they had to get to, and they didn't hold off at all. And they just kept going and going and going. And for a long time on that Sunday, we thought Patty in at 17 under was going to be pretty good. At Steph ends up finishing at 18, and because of that eagle on her final hole, Ataya finishes at 19 under par to win it outright, win a playoff. At one point in time, we thought we were going to be in for a 3 or 4 person playoff.
I know, I know. It seemed like a sweepstakes there. Lauren Coughlin, solo fourth. She's going to join us in part 2 of this podcast, so we'll have a lot more to cover here. The final thing I just wanted to note: the VAR trophy is given out each year to the low scoring average on the LPGA Tour, and it's a big award, not just because it shows your excellence over a full season. It comes with a Hall of Fame point. And actually, right now, Cody, as we talk, Ayaka Fudaway is leading the VAR trophy standings at 69.887 average score, just ahead of Nelly Corda, who's at 69.976. So again, I'm not taking anything away from Nelly. Her season has been awesome. We've talked about it a bunch, but Ayaka Fudaway is kind of like, just she's almost like the hair, or excuse me, the tortoise to Nelly's hair. Just keeps plugging along, playing good golf, and that Bear Trophy race is going to be really good the rest of the season.
You want to talk about scoring averages too, and like kind of the disparity there? Yaka's played in 17 events so far this year.
Hmm.
That's compared to Nelly's 12.
12, yeah.
Ayaka's playing a ton of golf and like performing, and she's still, I think, if we look at the race to the CME Globe standings right now, still like a million points behind Nelly. And by I say
Yeah.
that because I don't really know what the value of these points are, but a million points seems like an awful lot.
Yeah, the points don't really matter. You just got to get in the top 60
Yep.
to get in the Tour Championship. Last thing to note from the Evian: disappointing follow up to her KPMG win. Amy Yang finished tied for 63rd. And then double disappointment: Yuka Sasso missed the cut at Evian. And so I just wanted to note, since her US Open win, Yuka's gone miscut 68, tied for 17 at the Dow Team Championship, and then a miscut. So, she's one that's like, when she's good and she's on a course that fits her, she looks like the best player in the world, but we just don't see it week to week yet, which is kind of a bummer from a fan perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Couldn't agree more.
Well, I mentioned we were going to banter about some Solheim Cup picks, Cody. Let me set the stage for folks. Of course, the Solheim Cup teams will be announced after the AIG Women's Open. So that's the third week of August. So we have about a month till then, but not many tournaments. Like we just said, the Canadian Opens, this week. Portland, you're not going to see that many players next week. So it's really getting down to it. The US, let's start with the US. The US, the top 7 off the points list qualify automatically. And we have 3 women that have clinched spots already in order. Nelly Corda, Lilia Vu, and Allie Ewing is in that 3rd spot and has clinched. 4 through 7 right now are Allison Corpuz, Megan Kang, Lauren Coughlin, and Andrea Lee. So those 7 would get on, and then you would take the next 2 highest ranked women from the Rolex rankings, which right now would be Rose Zhang, ranked 9th in the world, and Allison Lee, ranked 24th in the world. And then the final 3 spots are captain's picks. So Cody, my question to you: I think we both have Alexi, so we're down to 2 captain's picks. I think this is one of like the cleanest teams that I can remember, men or women. Like, I don't really think there's much of a discussion here, which I think probably makes Stacey Lewis's life pretty easy. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on those last 2 captains picks.
Oh, really? Okay. So I'm going to flip it
Maybe
around
you
on you
don't think
then.
it's clean. Yeah, maybe you don't think it's
If
clean.
you're Captain Lewis right now, who would your 2 picks be?
So I think it's Angel Yin. She's ranked 32nd in the world. She went 2-1 last year in Spain. I get that she's fought injuries, but I just think if she's healthy, if she tells Stacy, "I'm healthy, I'm ready to go," I think you got to bring her. And then I think you got to bring Jennifer Kupcho, who's
God, we
currently
are.
ranked 49th in the world. She
Yes.
did not she did not get a victory. She went 0-2-1 last year in Spain, but she's 2-3-2 all time at Solheim's. I just think once you get beyond Angel and Jennifer, like we're talking about Sarah Schmelzel, who's 69th best player in the world at the moment, and then like Danielle Kang, I guess, Ryan O'Toole. I just think your top 12 this year is very clean.
Yeah, I agree, Vic. I thought that maybe our picks are going to look a little different for some reason, but I'm actually right there with you. The only thing I not like Sarah Smezel's had an awesome year, but she's also had some like really really bad finishes. I just
Yeah.
think that that might be her only limiting factor there, especially when you have so much experience that Jennifer Kupcho brings to this team. Very very familiar. This is a team that's going to look kind of the same as last year. And I think Jennifer kind of fits in perfect, like not only like on the course, but also off the course, locker room, team camaraderie stuff. I think it fits in very, very well. Let alone the fact like, her husband's going to be there as it is. So why
Yeah.
not make it a package deal?
Yeah. So given those teams, the new members for 2024 would be Lauren Coughlin and Allison Lee, and then they would be replacing Cheyenne Knight, who's had a disappointing season. I hate that
I
because I
know.
I loved her ascension last year. And honestly, Danielle Kang, I legitimately forgot she was on the team last year. Like she has almost completely disappeared.
I don't know what's going on there because we've had some like really like good individual 18-hole round scores, and then like we got a lot of 80s. It's
Yeah.
just weird. I don't know if it's injury. I don't know what exactly is going on.
Yeah. I think as clean as the US side appears to be, you can go a million different directions on the European side, which fascinates me. So I'll do a quick run through the European team qualifying. They take the top two off of the LET points list, which right now would be Charlie Hall and Lynn Grant. So I think let's just assume that they're going to get those two spots. And then Team Europe takes the top six women off the Rolex rankings, which currently would be Celine Boutier, Maya Stark, Leona Maguire, Carlotta Saganda, Madeline Sackstrom, and Georgia Hall. I don't think there's any surprises in that group. But then you have four captains picks. And this is where it's like, Cody, we can go in any direction we want. I'm so curious whether Suzanne Pedersen kind of just wants to roll back the same team as last year or if she makes some changes here. So why don't you tell me, let's lead with you. Why don't you tell me your European team captains picks?
Yeah, I think this is if she wanted to roll back the same team as last year, it's going to be a lot more difficult this year with the golf that specifically Esther Henslet's playing, Alexander Fosterling, and then really the person who probably should have been on that team last year, Anna Pelez Trevino. Like those
Mm,
three should be on this team. If you look at the LET list, I know that there's not a lot of weight put behind that for them, and they deviate the six picks to the Rolex list. Like they're the next ones that are on that Rolex list, and it's just it would be a shock for me, specifically Esther Henlet, because she's had really good finishes in majors, like
yeah,
literally top 10 machine in majors, had a really good year on the LPGA tour. Like missing not missing a lot. And if Alexandria and if Anna Pelez Servino again are left off this team, like heads honestly should roll. Like
wow.
yeah, like they deserve to be on this team.
I agree with you. I have Esther as one of my captain's picks. She's up to 54th in the world. And like you said, she's got a number of good finishes. She would be a rookie this year. I think that's also a pick that would make sense looking forward. If this ascension of hers is real, she's going to be in the conversation over the next, 3 to 4 Solheim Cups. So I'm with you there. All right. So sorry. Who are your captain's picks then?
Well, I only said three because the fourth, you could tell me anybody else that you wanted, and I'd say, yeah, sure, cool, cool. Captain Pedersen, she can have that one. But Esther,
Well, if
Alexandra,
she's gonna have that one, is she going head wall?
I hope she's had good finishes again at LET events.
Yeah,
She's hot or she's not, but really, I think, what we learned last year is that her relationship, her trust and confidence that she has with her captain is going to carry her a long way. And we said at the Solheim Cup last year, she sat out all of that first day, and then all of a sudden was the Solheim Cup.
I
Like
know.
she was it. I don't think like even lack of play. Like this is one of those momentum things. Like why would you not want to bring that?
I go both ways. It's like uh, Caroline's Sunday win. The whole thing was just storybook last year in Spain.
Still can't believe it
Caroline
happened.
Headwall. I know. So part of me is like, it's never gonna get better than that. So I almost is like, let's let it lie right there. Go off into the sunset. You're a Solheim Cup hero. I think though the other linchpin I should say with the captain's pick. So last year Anna Nordquist was not only an assistant captain, she was also on the team. Anna's not qualifying. It doesn't look like she's going to qualify automatically for the team this year. I think it would come down to whether she would want to play or if she's good in just that assistant captain's role. So I have her as a captain's pick, Anna Nordquist. I have Esther Henslet. I have Carolyn Headwall. And I think she's going to bring back Emily Christine Pedersen from Denmark. She just,
Yeah.
Captain Pedersen spoke so glowingly about her last year and just her attitude. And Emily went 2-2-1 last year, beating some higher ranked American counterparts. I just think she's going to probably try to bring back as close of a team as possible to the one that we saw in Spain. So I have Esther Henslet in, which would mean Gemma Drybera would be out. So I have only one switch for Team Europe. But as you said, there's so many different directions she could go if she chooses.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. It's a lot to take in. I honestly I don't know, but knowing how she puts her trust in the players a lot more emphasis in that than like recent performance.
Yeah.
So I can
It
see the
yeah.
direction that is going.
It's much more of a gut, much more of a feel play from Suzanne Pedersen than certainly Stacey Lewis is using on the American side.
Yeah,
Well, the
it's
good
gonna be
news, Cody, we're gonna have some opportunities to keep discussing these picks. I had a great time kind of thinking through these teams, and it's crazy that like I arrived back at kind of where we were last year, which I feel like is apropos. They tied. Like let's run it back this year. Let's give the winner both Solheim Cups this year.
You're crazy. Come on, man.
All right. Well, that is part one of the podcast. Cody, good stuff. Let's welcome in Lauren Coughlin. We're going to do that right now. Lauren, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say you're playing the best golf of your life. You're currently ranked 38th in the Rolex rankings, down one spot from your career high 37th after Evian. But you tell me, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hitting the ball extremely well, putting it probably the best I have in a really, really long time. And yeah, I think just, my coach and I were talking about it, just I think just managing myself really well in my game and staying on top of things. And yeah, it's been fun. Obviously, I have some big goals for this year, but it's been awesome, contending in two majors and a couple other top tens. So, no, it's been awesome. I've really enjoyed this year for sure.
Are you getting more comfortable about talking about yourself? Because I for anybody watching on the video, you got the big grin on. I know I like you can brag on yourself. You're playing some awesome freaking golf. It's so much fun to watch.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been fun. Like I said, it's just, I think just starting to just really feel comfortable being myself has been the big thing. And not thinking that I need to do anything extra, not thinking that I need to be perfect all the time, which I think I used to think. And I think I'm starting to really let that go. That's something that Terry has talked to me a lot about, Terry McNamara, my caddy, and, my coaches and husband, John. And I think I'm really starting to, believe it.
Well, golf's fun when you're hitting the ball well and you're putting it, as good as you ever have. So you're in Canada this week. What are your thoughts? What do you think of Earl Grey Country Club? And in general, how much fun is the Canadian Open each year? It seems like one of the better tour stops.
No, it is. I mean, Canadians love golf and they always show up, especially to watch Brooke. But no, it's
Yeah.
always one of the more well-run events too, just in terms of the build out and the like the caddies getting taken care of like really really well this week. Like they have a caddy lounge and they get level where like hooks them up with like clothes and stuff. And even like a bunch of caddies have had big time travel issues, and lost luggage, and they have like clothes for them just to like hold them over in case until they get their luggage, and like just little things like that. And then the course this week it's tight, not quite like Sahali tight, but still kind of quirky a little bit in some spots. Like there's a couple holes where like bunkers and stuff really kind of come in play, and so it's like okay, there's no you hit it here. There's really no other option. But other than that, I mean, the greens today were rolling really nice. Yeah, and the rough is really thick and patchy in some spots too. So it's gonna be a good test. But I think I also wouldn't be surprised if there were some really low numbers.
I haven't checked the pairings yet. Who are you paired with Thursday, Friday?
I'm playing with Paula Rito and Seyoung Kim.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, 7:59 tomorrow.
Okay. What was the how was the trip back from France? Did you take any extra days after the Evian? Did it take you a while to kind of get readjusted with time zones and everything? What was that like for you?
No, it definitely did. And then the thing though was then like I was getting up early just because of the time change. I was falling asleep okay, but like 3:30, 4 o'clock, I was like pretty wide awake. And then the open happened, and so I was like, well, I mean, I have something to watch, so I might as well stay up. So that didn't help the situation, but no, I feel like, and then I had another 2 hour time difference to get to Calgary, so I think I'm finally starting to really get adjusted now that I can sleep in and there's nothing keeping me up in the morning.
Is there any weird thing that you do on the road when you're trying to get over this jet lag?
The main thing is like that first day, like you have to stay up as late as you possibly can and then eat at appropriate times. Even if you're not hungry, it's like the only other way. Those are kind of the tips and tricks that we've gotten but really it's like you have to get up. You have to stay up that first night. You can't take a nap. You can't do anything. You just have to do as much as you can to try to stay up that first night. Because if not, you're screwed for the whole week.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah, you
sure.
just get behind the 8 ball and you
Yeah.
you you can't get back out in front of it.
No, no, not at
I
all.
also I want to point out too, the if you're watching the video version of this, you'll see this. But for our audio only listeners, Lauren's not driving.
No, I'm
You can
not
hear the
driving.
sounds, blinkers, everything. She's not driving. Okay, so this is very safe.
No.
Well, Elsie, we really want to just ask you about your experience at Evian, and you were leading on the back nine on Sunday. It felt like a very significant step on this journey that you've been on, and I guess I'm curious in your words and your thoughts. Do you think this was a big breakthrough? Because like you said, you finished tied for third at Chevron earlier this year, but to lead on the back nine is that a significant kind of marker in your journey?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it was pretty interesting just like how I felt that whole time, the whole week. I felt like I was very calm and relaxed until probably about the back nine on Sunday. It just kind of felt like I kept kind of waiting for something to happen, which isn't necessarily, the right way, but I feel like I learned a lot. Um, I learned some from Chevron for sure, but I'd never really felt like I was kind of in it, really, like coming down that last day, even though I think I was, technically, but it didn't quite feel like it. It wasn't the same feeling. And I would say, I think I just started I hadn't really been thinking about result up until probably about that last nine, which is kind of the last thing you want to do. You have to be so in the moment and so present. And I definitely, like I said, I was like, man, I'm just waiting for them to kind of come do something. And then I hit that shot on 16 and it didn't go down. And I think it just like took all the wind out of my sails and I didn't quite recover from it, unfortunately. But at the same time, like Ayaka was 5 under in the last 5 holes. So it didn't sting quite as bad as it probably would have if she hadn't done that.
Is
Yeah.
that what you think back to? Is your shot on 16?
Yeah, I think if I can hit that, like probably not even a yard, probably about a foot or two left, and it is probably by the hole.
When did you start? You mentioned being in contention and things being very process based. When did you like? Did you catch yourself being like, "Holy cow! Like it's things are starting to get a little quick. Things are different here." Like, could you physically feel that happening?
I would say probably after 16, I felt it most. I don't think I really did too much on like 14 or 15, even. Like, I made that really good par putt on 13. And then, I mean, I felt like I hit so many good putts on 9, or no, sorry, on 7, 10, 11, 13, and then 14. But they were all like downhillers, and just it was super hard to be aggressive. And I felt like I was putting good strokes on them. But again, it's just like they can really get away from you if you let them, the downhill ones out there. And it was hard to be aggressive. And I think if any of those, dropped, then I might have had a little bit more momentum going in towards those last couple holes. But just nothing really went in. And I don't think I didn't hit a bad shot, even on 16. Like, I didn't hit a bad shot. I just, where it ended up was just an extremely, extremely difficult
No,
two
like you
putt.
said, it was a
Yeah.
foot away from being like perfect, like
Yeah.
maybe
And
too
then,
good of a shot.
yeah, I know. And I like saw a video of Money's one that ended up going in where she kind of hit similar to where I did. And it's like she just got it actually up, I think, a little bit more right. And there was another little swale that you could hit off of. And that I think had it just enough to where she could get down. And I hit like too much on there's like just a little bit of a flat there. And I just hit too much on the flat. And I didn't get any of that momentum to go down to the left like I needed it to. No.
Same thing with your T-ball on 17. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, fairway." And then I'm like, "Oh, she's on the right-hand side of the fairway." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And then you come back and there's like one of the few times where they had like a really good camera angle of showing like this is
Yeah.
where you're hitting the shot, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is not comfortable anymore."
Yeah, it was a tough one. Like, I took more club for sure and tried to open it up, and I didn't hit it quite like I wanted to. And that's kind of where I started to feel the like. I think I just knew that I had probably lost it at that point, and so after that, it got to me for sure. I think Xander. I was texting with Rotella, and I was texting with Terry too. Xander had a really good quote after this last week. Basically, I didn't let myself dream too far, or something like that. Like, didn't start dreaming or before I had gotten it, and I was like, man, that's exactly what it was. Like, he was talking about how like earlier in the year he kind of let himself dream too early, and I was like, yep, that's exactly what I did on the back nine there.
I feel like that's something though, like you can tell yourself that, but until you like experience it and
Yeah,
you're in the moment, like now you're going to be so much better for it by having gone through this experience. And I was getting ready to ask you like what were, when you debriefed with Caddy John and your coaches and Terry and your team, what were kind of the big takeaways from the week? It sounds like that was maybe right up there more than anything.
exactly. Just like thinking about everybody else and not staying in my own little bubble there on that back nine was, I think, the biggest thing. And again, like I really, even like on Saturday, I had never once crossed my mind that I was going to win the golf tournament, and I think that's why I was just so calm and just going about my business and hitting the shots. And if it went in, it went in. And also, I was thinking about, so John caddied for me because so Terry McNamara has been caddying me for me for the last 5 weeks, and he can't do the walk and the travel at Evian anymore, and so John was filling in, and I was like, gosh, this whole week leading up to it, I was like, oh my god, if I play well, I'm gonna hear it all I'm gonna hear from the caddies and stuff is, oh my God, you're taking John. Why are you taking Terry? Why aren't you taking John? Literally, like when I made that putt on 18 on Saturday, that's literally what was in my head when I was like pulling the trigger.
I gotta say, husband John, who was on your bag,
Yeah.
caddy John now, he was getting some good airtime. He got a great shout out from Grant Boone on the telecast. They were talking about former football player at UVA. I think the highlight though, if we was from 18 on Saturday, right, the end of your
Yeah.
third round, and Lauren, we do a segment called Winning Advice, which is brought to you by our good friends at Mizuho. And I was just hoping you could kind of take us through that conversation in 18 fairway, because it really looked fun and you guys were having a good time. But what was that moment Saturday as you were deciding whether to go for the par five or not?
Yeah, so I had about, I think I had probably about 230 or so to the flag, 225 to the flag, but it was about 205 to cover the water, and the ball is like very below my feet. I think he did a good job of not pushing, but I pretty much had the same exact shot the day before, and I pulled it off. So I think if I hadn't done it and pretty much the same shot on Friday, I probably wouldn't have wanted to do it. Just because it's so below my feet and the ball, and it's a 3 wood because you have to make sure you cover the water, and it comes out so low, and it's, moving very much left to right. And, but yeah, he was like, I asked him, I was like, do you think I should go for it? And he said, I think you can do it. And then, so I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, I did
What
it
kind of
yesterday.
answer is that? Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, well, he was trying not to push me, right? Be like, yes, you should go
Yeah.
for it. He's like, I think you can do it. I think you can pull it off. And then, where he's talking about it through it, and he's, do you promise you're committed or whatever he said? And then obviously as he's like pulling the club, as he's pulling the bag away, he goes, let's fucking see it. And I'm just like, being like, when we're walking after I hit that shot, I was like, did you really need to say that? Really?
That's so awesome. God, I love that. I love that. Well, let's make that the winning advice, brought to you by Mizuho. Thank you to Mizuho. For more information, visit www.mizuhoamericas.com. That is fantastic. Any other little stories from what's it been like having John on the bag for you a few weeks?
No, I mean, it's always good. It's just, you know, he loves it, right? He loves being in the moment, being in he's very competitive, and he definitely, misses certain parts of football, and so it's been awesome, getting to do it together in certain times. But at the same time, like, it's definitely only a time, or a week or two at a time, just because it becomes too much for me to have everything be about my golf all the time.
Yeah.
No break, no, like, it's awesome. Like, it's been awesome. He's been caddying for Gina Kim this will be their fourth week together. And like at night, we come back together, have dinner or whatever. And like, he's recapping his day, and like, he's just so excited, telling me about his day and what they worked on and what they did. And it's like, it's awesome. It's so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Cody, what else from Evian? Any other ground we need to cover?
No, I just you know this already, LC. I wrote about it in Gin and Tonic that week, but I know you wanted the W, but I think it's just you put yourself in the moment, and at the end of the day, like, it's not like you lost that tournament. Like, people
No.
came and won it, and at it the like what I will always remember is, yes, that shot on Saturday on 18 for you, but really it's you and John standing on the 18th green when it was over, and like, you guys turned. I don't even know if you realize you did this, but like, when Ayaka made that putt, like, you guys turned to each other and like had like a little chuckle, and then like
Hmm.
gave each other a hug. And I'm like, that's what this is all about. Like, these are my friends, and I I would be like dog cussing the shit out of myself, and you guys are just like, yeah, of course. Like, why wouldn't she have made that putt? And like, we just got to play with the person who won a major championship,
Yeah.
and that's awesome. And you're gonna be in that moment time and time again. And it was just like such a defining moment for me and for my little girls who were watching it with me. And of course, they made the best out of it because they're just excited to put Bluey back on TV. No offense to you or the championship or anything, but they just didn't really get it. And I was just so damn proud. Like, really, that's what it was. And I cannot wait. And I know you're doing your best to dampen our expectations and your expectations when it comes to Solheim and everything else like that. But like, that's where we're at. And for you to start like this year that you're having, incredible, like, extremely transformative. Like, I don't even know if you look at like where you started the year on any of the lists versus where you're at now, but you're leaping and jumping over all of these plateaus that most people get stuck on. And like, you're just fucking doing it. And it's really awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's been pretty crazy. And just like I think I talked about this yesterday, I did the LPGA podcast that they're doing, and it was just like
Oh, nice.
there's still like, things that I can get better at. And I think that's the really fun part, that like there's still another level that I can get to.
Where do you think that is? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, it's just around the greens. A lot of it is, I mean, I hit a ton of greens, and so like I don't have to chip all that often, but it's like when I do, I need to make sure I can get it up and down. I make about half, I average like 3.8 birdies around, and you really want to be about four. So I mean, that's fine. I make plenty of birdies. It's the bogeys. I make about 2.5, and you want to be under two is kind of the thing. So it's like a half bogey around pretty much.
Hey,
And
LC, with all this money that you guys are making this year, you guys staying in nicer hotels?
no, 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 but I did just I bought a pair of Travis Scotts the other day that I've been really wanting. Jordan
Oh,
ones.
look
I
at
know
her
John
go.
John was not happy about that. But so but I'm buying them. Well, so it was funny. So after Chevron, I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy you a new, like, really nice, like, boat, like fishing, like John boat that he really wanted, right? Instead of like a percentage. And then so after Evian, I was like, well, I guess you're getting a bigger boat then now. So now I got, the price went up. I got to get a bigger one now. So
Yeah, good for
He-
him.
He's probably like, "Hey, let's wait till after the women's open. Maybe maybe that boat could get even bigger." Um,
well,
Elsie,
Terry's
I was
back on
looking
the
at.
back. Terry's back on the back
Oh,
for the
that's
open.
right. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. I was looking at some of your stats. I like your putts per green in regulation this year of 1.79 ranks 31st. I know that's a big. I mean,
yeah,
it's a big improvement because last year you were 1.83, zero point 0.4 around. It adds up pretty quickly, especially given the amount of greens that you do hit. You're eighth
yeah.
this year, but I really loved you have 30 rounds under par, which currently ranks fifth on tour, and you've made 190 birdies, which ranks 13th.
How
So
does that make you
yeah,
feel, Big?
I mean, it's more birdies. It honestly might be more birdies than I've made in my life. It really would be close, I think. But no, it just makes me awestruck. Your rounds in the 60s, you currently rank 17th. Like it's just awesome to see you. It's obviously all coming together. You said that the putting has been a big component in that. I just want to echo what Cody said. Like Evian, like we're having these like Slack conversations, cheering you on. Like it's just
Yeah.
so much fun to watch you in that moment. So like, thank you for putting on a show, and you're just such a great friend, and you do so much for No Laying Up, and you make yourself available for conversations like this. So to watch you continue to play better and better golf has just been so much fun.
It's pretty wild to think about when, like, 2019 or so, when I first met you guys, and now where I am.
Yeah, I know. I
I
know.
know, it's crazy. Randy's getting married. Who would have
I
thought?
know, it's wild. Oh yeah, by the way, congratulations, Randy. I heard about this.
Thank thank you, Lauren. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I have a dog. Like you think
Oh
things are
yeah,
moving quickly for you. Things are moving quickly over here for me.
how is the dog, by the way? I know
The
that's more of
dog's
a
good.
trap draw. I know that's more of a trap draw conversation,
Thank you.
but
Yeah. No, the dog's been great. We've only had a couple of accidents inside, but he's just a big lover boy. So we're having a great time with him.
It's the
nice.
exact same thing you say about John. Hey, I don't want to bring up Solheim Cup too much, but like, we're sitting in a pretty good spot here now. Outside of points, has Captain Lewis said anything to you?
I mean, I'm sure if I went and asked her, she would tell me, but I haven't asked. We've more just had certain conversations about like the golf course, since I live about an hour and 10 minutes away from it. Terry came up to Charlottesville last week, and we went and played it on Thursday. And so, you know, just little things here and there. I mean, I think I've moved past the point of where I'm like, oh, I'm just hoping to make, just trying to working and to make the team. I'm more now. I'm kind of trying to get ready to, get as many points as I can for the team. And I think that's a big shift in my mindset from the beginning part of the year, where I was like, just doing anything I could just to make sure I could be on the team. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I'm trying not to think about it too much, just in the sense that am I going to make the team? Am I not going to make the team? I'm just trying to focus on like playing my golf, and that's all I can really control. I know that's the more political answer for it, but it is true. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm trying not to think about it, to put too much pressure on it. Just try to play my golf, and I think if I do that, everything will work out how it's supposed to.
Absolutely. What's after the Canadian Open this week? What's the plan getting over? I assume you're playing the Scottish and then the Women's Open. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So I have Portland next week,
Oh,
Oregon,
you
and
are
then
going to play Portland. Okay,
hmm
good for you.
yeah,
All
Portland
right.
next week, and then I'll have a week off, and I might be playing the Solheim course again. Allison Corpuz is coming up, and she had mentioned, I kind of been like, hey, if anybody's coming, I live there, like, I'll meet you guys. And
Home game.
so,
Home
yeah,
game. Yeah.
so I think I might go play with Allison on Tuesday after Portland potentially, and then we fly out to Scottish on that Saturday. John
Okay.
John and I are flying from DC to Brussels and then Brussels to Edinburgh just because we got the free
TC
upgrade.
special.
Yeah,
That's
we
the
got
TC
the
special.
it
Yeah.
is. I know. We got it was like at booking we were going to get the plus
Oh,
points
shit.
Oh,
upgrade
come
on
on.
United. Whereas so instead of flying just a direct flight, it was all the small planes, and so we weren't going to get a lie flat. So John was like, "Okay, I'll see if he can find some other stuff." And so so we're flying to Brussels and then from Brussels to Edinburgh.
I love that. I love that. I know you played a lot of just fun links golf last year on your trip.
Mhm.
Any fun links golf this time around that you're going to try to play?
Probably not. I mean, I'm getting to play the old course, so it's going to be pretty good
True.
I haven't played it, so um, Terry's caddied in it twice, the two times that they've had it there. But no, I don't think I have anything extra planned this time. But yeah, John and I played Troon 2 years ago. He played Prestwick 2 years ago. He played Kilspindie. He played, where else did he play? North Berwick. So yeah, we
Yeah.
had a good trip that trip for sure.
Have you all been down to Ely?
No, that would I would make a trip to go do that. I think maybe before the old course for sure.
Shit, maybe Cody. Maybe we can. Cody and I will have our sticks over there. Maybe we should
There we
make an
go.
evening out of it.
That would be fun.
It's my favorite place. It's my favorite course on a nice evening. It's just magical. So yeah, let's try to make that happen.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited for you
Um,
guys to meet Terry for sure. It'll be his 10th Solheim Cup, which is crazy, but only his
damn.
second one for the U.S.
Ooh.
I'm gonna introduce myself as Phil Landis to him. I'm gonna throw
You
him up.
absolutely. It was so funny. We were on the golf course. We were at RTJ, and he goes, those videos, they always, show the credits and they show the names. And he's like, my wife and I, she noticed, she was like, who's Phil Landis? He was like, who is Phil Landis? I was like, oh my gosh.
I love that. I love that. It just tickles me when people don't make that connection.
It was
All right. Well,
amazing.
Cody, anything else for Lauren, or should we let her go finish her prep before the tournament starts?
Yeah, prep. I guess the only thing, and you kind of answered it. Is there, if we're looking towards the end of the year, like you've knocked off a lot of goals, but what's remaining? You're like, hey, 2024, we can still get this done. Like, where are we at total?
Yeah, I mean, Solheim, of course, is still the main thing, but I want to get a win really bad. That's the goal for sure. That's the biggest one. I think I'm pretty much locked up to make CME, which I have never been made to our tour championship before. So yeah, it's going to be a win, 100%.
God, I love that. The big guy, he's got to get a suit because I think we have to go to the Rolex Awards this year. We're going to be down at
Nice.
the old tour championship, so we'll see you there.
Yeah,
They
I'm
wanted
getting.
me to walk the
I'm
park.
already getting to Terry to do Annika and CME, and I'm getting him to do Arkansas too, which I think he hasn't done in quite a while. I put on the
Nice.
sales. I put on this my salesmanship. I was like, it's my birthday that week, so
So yeah, no pressure.
I was like, it's
But
only a
yeah.
3-day event too, So he's like, well, can I
What do
get
you,
there on Tuesday? I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
right? Yeah. What are you going to do for the fall Asian swing? Are you going to play all three? Or I guess it's four, right? then
there's
into Hawaii.
yeah, there's 4. I'm for sure gonna do Korea. I'm still trying to work it out. I mean, the most likely is probably to do Shanghai, Korea, then Malaysia. But I really want John to let me not do Malaysia so I can come to the NIT. That's what I really
That's where
want
I
to
was
do.
going with
Yeah,
this.
that's what I
Yes.
really
Yes.
want to do. So I got to do some convincing still, but that's my that's what I really want to do. So we'll see if I'm hoping that I can convince him.
God, I love that. Is John qualified for the NIT yet?
I don't think so. He didn't do it last year, so no one said he needed to go do it. I just want to go do it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you're defending champ, so we of course would love to have you. You get a spot at the champions table for dinner.
I
Yeah,
know.
a lot of traditions we got to uphold.
I know. I know.
That's wonderful. We hope to see you at the NIT. We'll understand though if you want to stay over in Asia and play there. Thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to watch you this weekend in Canada. Of course, the next several weeks culminating with the major season at the Old Course. So best of luck, and yeah, we'll see you in Scotland, Cody and I.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.